So lately I've been kind of feeling like I'm not all the way here. And that may sound a little weird, so I'll explain. Ever since my college graduation, I've kind of felt like my life isn't really mine. And that also sounds weird because of course it's mine, and it should be the first time in life that it actually feels like mine because I'm not in school anymore. But I've honestly found it really difficult to not be anxious or worried all the time. And worrying is definitely something that'll make you feel like you're not really here, because for me at least, all of my worrying is usually about the future, which can obviously distract you from what's going on in your life right now and make you feel like you're a little bit out of it. And it's funny because worrying doesn't actually change anything, which I know, but I still do it all the time. And when I'm thinking about my future all the time, it's hard to stay focused on what's actually happening in my life right now, which can make me feel like I'm a little disconnected. You know, sometimes I wake up and I don't even know what I'm worried about. It's just something that has become so ingrained in me because I do it every single day. So my brother and I were actually in this really crazy car accident recently, and if there's anything that can make you feel like you're not in control, it's that. But there's this weird thing where when something like that happens to you, as fear-inducing, as scary, as stressful as that can be, it almost makes you wonder why you worry about everything else so much. You know, when my life could be gone in a second, why am I worried about 10 years into the future? So that's been on my mind. So since then, I've just been kind of trying to find these ways that I can ground myself again, because you feel really, really strange when you're confronted with the fact that life can be gone like that. And in the last couple weeks, I have realized that the one thing that makes me feel more grounded than anything is when I'm making something. And I make things all the time. I make videos, I take photos, I do a lot of things digitally, but it's been such a long time since I just sat down and put pen to paper and drew something like I used to, or painted something like I used to. And that was something that always made me feel the most like myself. But there's this weird thing that happens to me, and there's probably a scientific explanation for it, but I don't do all that. But I get into this state of almost hyper-focus where I'm able to just only focus on the art that I'm doing. Sometimes I won't realize that 3 hours have gone by, 6 hours have gone by. Sometimes I forget to eat. It's crazy. And I wish that I had taken more time the last couple months since I graduated to do those things more, because I didn't really realize how much it helps me reconnect to my life, in a sense. Which honestly may sound ridiculous as I'm saying this out loud, but it's true. Not that you should ignore your problems or anything, but it helps me to forget about mine for a while. When I'm drawing, I'll watch 4 movies in a row and not even think twice about it, not even realize how much time has passed. It's the only way I've found that I'm able to shut my brain off, or the worry part of it anyway. And the funny thing that kind of sparked this video and this drawing is I found an old folder of my drawings from throughout high school, and I had almost forgotten that I'd done them, or forgotten that I used to do that. It's almost like I put that part of myself away because it wasn't in my head going to serve whatever creative career I was chasing after at the time. But since the creative things I was doing, like web design or graphic design or anything on my computer, since those were for work, they didn't feel as cathartic when I was doing them. I didn't get into that hyper-focus mode. I didn't feel connected to myself because I was doing those things to further a future version of myself instead of serving the present version of myself. Which is fine. You should always take time to further your future plans and things like that, obviously, but you should also take time to do the things that make you feel like yourself. So I think we all know that growing up, we're told that artists don't make it, right? And I hate that idea. I hate it so much. It doesn't make any sense to me. In my mind, we need artists just as much as we need doctors, lawyers. So I've never understood growing up why one is encouraged over the other. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. I'll get off my soapbox now, but the point I was trying to make was that I gave into that when I was younger. I let myself believe that. I mean, God, I almost went to school to be a physical therapist, I think, at one point. But in high school, I did art all the time. I loved it. That was my thing. I took all the classes. That was it. It's sort of where I developed this crazy detailed style that I like to do now. But because I couldn't really draw a perfect human face or figure, and instead drew these crazy, detailed, glorified doodles, as some might call them, I didn't really see a need to continue doing it after college because I thought it wasn't gonna get me anywhere. And honestly, it's funny, the reactions I'll get when I show people the art that I do is, wow, that's crazy. But are you okay? You know, because they're so insanely detailed and it's like, does she need help or is she good? I don't know. It's funny. I could say it's a representation of my brain, but we won't get into that today. But now as I've gotten older and matured a bit, whatever that means, I almost wish I never stopped because it wasn't going to get me anywhere. Because even if I never really did have the desire to have my art hanging in a gallery one day, it was still something that I enjoyed doing, that I loved. And if there's ever something like that in your life that makes you happy and that kind of takes you away from the world a little bit, I think you should hold on to it, no matter if it's gonna take you anywhere or not. You don't even have to be good at it. I mean, I play the guitar and the piano, and play is a very strong word, let me assure you. But it's fun, and I enjoy it, so I do it. For me, I found it really important in my life to make time for my hobbies, and not because they're gonna contribute to an incredibly successful career or whatever, but because they get me out of my freaking head for a little bit. I've even found that when I give myself that outlet to be creative in a different way, it opens up creative ideas in other facets of my life. Because when I give myself that opportunity to just make something for fun, it almost takes the pressure off the other creative things I'm doing that may be pertaining more to work or a career that I'm trying to build. Because no matter how insane life can get, you always kind of have those things that you can fall back on and help you focus on, you know, what's happening right now instead of 5 to 10 years in the future. Because like I'm sure you know, life moves pretty fast. And if you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. This is all pretty much one big reminder to myself that I can watch back, but if anyone's watching this, I hope it makes you feel like you have a friend, because when your brain is going crazy, it can make you feel like you yourself are crazy, and that can get pretty lonely. Because for me, when that happens, I tend to isolate myself a little bit, but I promise you, you're not crazy and you're not alone because, I mean, look at me. I'm right there with you. None of us really know what's going on, okay? As much as people look like they have their stuff together. I mean, look at my Instagram. I look like I've been traveling the world for 2 months. I was in Iceland for a week and posted the pictures for 2 months. That was my choice, and it looks cool, but I mean, someone's Instagram highlight reel isn't always their present reality. It's just the way it is. No one's gonna share the ramen soup they're eating for dinner or the dog poop they stepped in at the park. It's just not gonna happen. But I hope that you're able to take this and take your mind off things for a little bit, find that thing that helps you do that, because in the middle of all this madness, that's all we can do, right? So for me, I'm gonna take more time to draw, more time to paint, more time to make things, and see what happens. And I hope I never really lose sight of that part of myself again and never really stop completely with it again. Because as wild and confusing as my art is, thus is life. Look at that guy. Woo! There were so many times when I wanted to quit on this. I'm glad I finished it, but I wanted to quit a few times, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't finished one of these drawings in forever. I have 6 pages of things of these that I started and never finished, and now I finished one for the first time in like 3 years. So here she is. Pretty crazy. I think I'm gonna make another one. That was fun. Okay, bye.